right? But um, we could work. Well, we can work on breaking this up into multiple components, right? And then give each of them a name. So like how you got registration as one. Like how you got registration as one. Sorry, as one component, right? We can break this component up into several components. So what you could do is it's up to you. You could break up the additional components and then keep the logic in here, right? So you got registration, right? Registration forms, and then you got slash whatever, whatever, whatever. But from a page perspective, um, what this is going to do is you could stack it, right? So like I got reset, sign in, auth, validation, right? Some of these are using as components, some of these are using as pages, right? So for example, if you go to pages, right. So if you go to this page, if you go to this, you can see I got multiple pages here, right? So if I do slash, I'll go straight to index, right, which is where my main sign in there, right? And then if I go to reset and go to the password reset page, and then I go to sign up, and then like if you look at this, I got some additional logic in the page here to do routing depending on whether the user sign in or not. And with the reset page is just the reset component, and this is the sign up component. So each of them is a separate component. So here for the registration, um, this could probably be probably like some welcome instructional or something, right? And then you create multiple components here, or um, yeah, you create the one page, the like how you got this one component here, right? And then this would load. And then depending on your choices and so forth, you load in the additional components into this. So you got one registration component really, and then you load multiple components into this depending on what is going on. So um, let me find the form back. Right. So for example, you got personal information, right, um, which is mandatory, right? And then you got on the 16, which is not gonna be applicable to everybody. And then you got contact information, then you got mailing address, and then you got additional information and so forth, right? They got attachment, employment information, and application declaration, right? Cool. So let's make each of these a component. So personal information is a component. Um, on the 16 is a component. Contact information is a component. Address, blah, blah, and blah. So everything that is a farm should be part of one process, right? The registration process, right? So in the initial phases, the user should be able to like click whether or not the on the 16, sorry, the over 16, and then we can exclude the be- whether or not, depending on whether or not they click it, right? So then this on the 16 information can only be applicable if it's clicked, right? At the start of this process, the click a checkbox or something saying that they're under 16, and then they could continue full on the rest of the information. Everything else gonna be like a step through form, like you finish this part, that you submit it, the data gets stored in state. You finish this part, it's submitted, the data gets stored in state, and so forth, right? But this section here, right, attachments, right, this should not be part of the this should not be part of the submission. When they finish completing the part and they create the data regarding the registration, right, you present them with this form, and then this you present them with this form, and then this declaration in the last, right? So this, but the main thing is, okay, in order, what I'm trying to say is, in order to complete um the first stage of the application is you fill out all of this information, right? Right, probably, yeah, including this agreeing to the terms of service, right? But there's only step one, right? Then there's a step two, right, which is uploading these documents, because this could happen at once or it could happen over a period of days. But what I want is that the record should be in the database, right? And then they could always come back as they find this information and so forth and then upload it. So the next time they come back to this page, next time they come back to registration, once they have finished the first part of the registration process, which is all the bio information that they could fill out and agreeing to the declaration, right? Once they've done that, then they shouldn't see the form anymore. They should just see this where they could upload the additional documents to complete. Right? They could always come back and change it or update something different or whatever the case may be, right? After review. Like we said, after review, the person come back and they say gotta be able this thing certificate thing in print good or something like that. They should be able to like update it and replace what's there or whatever it is. Once they're going through the registration, the application process, right? So I say all that to say, let me componentize the forms, including this attachment section. But this attachment section should be separate and always available, right? Like once you go into the registration part, right? And the could only create a record after they had submitted all the required information for the biographical information. So personal information on the 16th, if they're on the 16th, the contact information, the mailing address, right? Let's see, right, main address, mailing address, right? Additional information and the employment source of funds and so forth. All of this should be in separate components, right? Including this part here for the terms of service. But all of them gonna be stored into one object. So if they complete the process, something gotta keep track of whether they complete the process or not, right? But they need to complete the process, fill out the whole entire thing. So we treat it as like one form, right? So when you're loading it into here, you could probably stack all the components on top of each other and then show them conditionally, depending on whether or not they finish the requirements for one form. But when they click save on a section, it don't submit. They only get the submit button on the last section of the biodata form. Then they could submit though. After the point, it gonna present them with the attachment form saying, please attach these documents, right? From that point on, anytime the user come back and they click on registration, it should pop up with the please attach these documents form that allow them to attach the documents. Right? I think I do a lot of talking there, but I'm not too sure if it makes sense. But yeah.